Lucas.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is an immoral and deeply cruel and divisive bill. It's one that breaks international law, it runs roughshod over human rights, and it shames us all. And I'd argue it shames especially those ministers who are deliberately and dangerously stirring up hatred with their vile and dehumanising language. So I am pleased to associate myself with the reasoned amendment in the name of the Honourable Member for Streatham. But let's have some clarity over some of the facts here. The UK offers safety to far fewer refugees per capita than the average European country, including France and Germany, and far, far fewer than the countries neighbouring those from the 70% of refugees from the global south have fled. And behind the numbers and the statistics are real people, with lives and hopes and families and dreams. In the words of the British Somali poet Warsan Shire, no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land, unless home is the mouth of a shark or the barrel of a gun. And the bottom line is this: that far too often there are no other routes available to those fleeing violence and persecution, many of whom have family here that they want to be reunited with. Locking them up is beyond cruel. The UN High Commissioner on Refugees has warned that this bill would amount to an asylum ban. Yet ministers simply don't care. They're even coming up with new ways to circumvent international law. The bill explicitly gives them the authority to ignore future interim ECHR rulings. So even if a case were lodged in Strasbourg, they could still press on with detaining and criminalising asylum seekers while the courts are deciding. That is a process that could take up to 3 years. But you know, this government doesn't care whether the policy works. That's not what it's about. It's about dividing and ruling. It's about stoking those cultural wars. It's about picking a fight with the European Court of Human Rights for cynical electoral gain. It certainly doesn't care about the human beings caught in the crossfire. If it seriously wanted to protect the lives at risk from small boat crossings, then it would back, for example, more generous family reunification rights, and it would support safe and functioning routes. I have a constituent whose wife and daughters are stranded in Turkey, having fled Afghanistan in August 2021. They don't have the documents to apply for a family visa. They aren't eligible for the ACRS. They've played by the rules for the past 18 months, and they are desperate enough to consider crossing the channel to be reunited. And yet government ministers have not lifted one single finger to help. And even those who are eligible for the ACRS can't make it work. Not one Afghan has come to the UK via Pathway 3 of the ACRS regime since it opened in June last year. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Home Secretary on the face of this bill invites Parliament to rip up international law. The only act of a Parliament that has some kind of moral integrity is to rip up her illegal and immoral bill, which has no place on our statute book.
Thank you, Madam